What is going on, you guys? Welcome into another episode of the Growth, Grit, Grind podcast. Today, I want to talk to you about something that, I consider very near and dear to my heart. I spent a good portion of my life doing and continue to this day just in a different capacity. And I want to talk about sales today. Specifically, I want to talk about converting leads or prospects into sales. And I think it's really, really important for all entrepreneurs and business owners to know how to do this. And I think we all, to a certain degree, know how to do it, or we understand the process, and everybody's business is a little bit different. But at the end of the day, human psychology and sales psychology are the same. Maybe our sales cycles look a little different. Maybe how we convert leads to sales may look a little bit different. And of course, just our sales process in general may be different. In our business, we work very hard to not have a hard sale. We want to ensure that when we sit down with a business owner or an entrepreneur that's wanting to take their marketing or advertising to the next level, that we genuinely want them to see the value, and we want them to know that they need us. We want to build as much value as we can, and in return, they want to do business with us, not like they are compelled or persuaded necessarily to do business with us. But there is an element of selling our services and our products and ensure that, our prospect understands why we're valuable. But I want to walk through a couple of things that I recently was able to talk about this in front of one of our networking groups, and I thought I would share it with you guys today as we don't have a guest this week. So walking through a little bit of that kind of training, if you will, or just sharing knowledge and information amongst ourselves. And sometimes it's things I've heard or things I've picked up or just knowledge in general. And hopefully this is helpful. But there's really two main things that you have to accomplish when you're wanting to convert a lead into a sale. And the first thing that you really have to do, and I would say there's really three steps, but two main kind of questions that you've got to address and have an answer to. But before you get to those questions, you have to understand what the needs are of your lead. And if you understand what the needs are of your lead, then you can better express what it is that you do and what solution that you provide. Because the question that you have to answer for yourself first is, can I solve their problem? The thing they came to me for, can I solve that problem? And can I solve it the way they're looking for it to be solved? So that's really the first question that you have to ask, and you have to get to the root of what they ultimately want. What outcome are they ultimately looking for? I heard somebody say that we regularly we're talking about, a vacation, and we regularly want to sell the trip, and we want to talk about the plane, and we want to talk about the free peanuts, and we want to talk about, first class versus, business economy. And, we want to do all those things, but in the reality is everyone just wants to be on the beach. And we're selling the wrong thing. We're talking about the vehicle that gets us there, but in reality, they just want to hear about the destination. They want to hear about the outcome. They want to hear about the actual solution. So a lot of times you have to dig to find out what that is, because someone could tell you, let's just take really anything, any solution. We can use us as an example. Is someone could say, we need marketing and advertising. My next question usually is why. And there's a thought process called like the 7 layers of why. People coined it different ways, but essentially the same thing. Is that I want to ask a question, why? Why do you feel that you need marketing and advertising? Well, we just, right now we're doing it ourselves, and we just don't feel like we're executing at the highest level. Well, why do you feel that way? Well, we have a high cost per lead, and we feel like it should be, lower than that. And, well, why did you come to that conclusion? I mean, is it based on research? Is it just feeling? Or, you want to get to the root. And at the end of it, we may end that conversation with, we have a competitor in our space that has hired a professional marketing and advertising company. Their video quality looks better. Their advertisements look better. So we're sitting here going, this is not... We don't want to look like second grade to them. We want to look like we are the top tier choice. It's a little bit of flex. It's a little bit of that, but you want to ultimately get to really what are they looking for? Well, the reality is that our sales are down, and we know our sales are down because this other person in our market is competing at a higher level and taking some of that traffic that we would normally get, and we want to compete with them, and we don't want to compete. We want to dominate them. So that's when you ultimately, it's not that they just want marketing and advertising. They want sales. They want higher video quality. They want some things. So that's the thing you have to do first, is you have to hear what they're saying and not just hearing for that response, but hearing to actually listen, but then dive deeper. And that's where I see initially like taking a salesperson to a sales professional is learning how to stay in the conversation and ask the right questions. Because if you ask the right questions in the right order and enough of them, you will get all of the ammunition, if that's what you want to call it, to be able to really find out, is what I offer what they need, and can I provide a solution to the actual problem that they have? But then moving into really the questions that you have to answer in that process, and you're not only answering them for you, but you're answering them for the prospect or for the lead as well. And that question really is the solution that I have just put in front of you. If I provided, like in that scenario, and I told someone like, absolutely, could we dominate your market? Could we crush this other company? Or whatever the terminology is. If we're able to do that, and we're able to generate X, Y, Z, if we're able to get this many views and this many leads, and then you're able to convert those at a reasonable rate, and it results in X, Y, or Z increase in sales for you, would that be worth what I'm telling you it cost? If I've quoted them or given them a proposal, if this that I've just put in front of you, if this provides the solution that you're looking for, is it worth what I'm telling you it cost? And they have to sit back, and sometimes you have to walk them through, like for ours, it's walking them through, like I'll use a contractor, for example. If you're spending, $3,000 a month with us between, say retainer and ad spend, or maybe it's $5,000, maybe it's $10,000, depending on where they're at and what they're doing. If you're spending $5,000 a month with us, and we get you one project, just one, and you've told us that your average project is $30,000 with a 50% margin, is that worth it to you to invest 3 to get a $20,000 project that you're going to make 10 grand on? Is that worth it? You put in 3, you got 10 back. Is that a great conversion for you? And sometimes you have to walk them through that. Customers or clients of ours that have a much larger lifetime value. A remodel contractor, they may only work with them once, and then they may not do another remodel project for 5 or 10 years. And it's hard to quantify like how many times they keep coming back, especially if their business is early. But some of you that are in a business that it's constant repeat business, whether it's monthly or quarterly or several times a year or multiple times over a span of 3 to 5 years, like a gym or something like that has these recurring memberships, you have to break those numbers down. Is that I want them to have a picture in their head of what that monetary value is if we're able to do this and it results in this with a reasonable calculation, nothing crazy, with a reasonable conversion, is it worth what I'm telling you that it costs? You should be able to paint that picture for them. And the only reason that you'd be putting a solution in front of them in the first place is if you've already kind of done that math and you know that like this is kind of a no-brainer. Like if it's $1 in and $4 back, if it's $1 in and $2 back, there'd be some that they love that conversion. But if it's 1 and 8 back or 1 and 10 back, like it's a no-brainer for them to want to do business with us. So you have to do that in your businesses. You have to ask them and find out if what I'm putting in front of you as a solution to your problem, if it does everything that I say it's going to do, is it worth the price that I just put in front of you? And, I mentioned like a gym, if we're able to get you in here and we're able to do some personal training with you and get you on, the right eating habits and and we're going to help you all along the process, is it worth $79.99 a month that in 3 months, you'll be down 30 pounds, you'll be feeling better, you're going to sleep better, you're going to feel better, you're going to look better. Like, is that what you're looking for? And if they go, yeah, if it does everything you're saying that it will do, it's worth $5,000 or it's worth $79.99 a month, or it's worth whatever the price point is. Now, the next question that you have to ask is, because that's hypothetical. That particular answer is if your product does what you're saying it will do, then yeah, it's worth that price point. But the next question is how do I persuade or convince or show you that what I'm telling you is true? And they may say, do you have testimonials? Do you have case studies? Do you have proof? Do you have something that you can show me? And they're going to give you that answer. They're going to give you the answer. So you have to address and answer both of those questions in that process. Is if I can accomplish this, if my solution that I'm putting in front of you will solve your problem, is it worth what I'm telling you it costs? And they say yes. And I go, great. What do I need to show you to have you believe that? Because if you need me to show you case studies, if you need me to show you real-time, real-world examples from an ad account, similar industry or exact industry in another, part of town or another part of the state or the country, like I can show you those things. What do you need to do to be convinced that what I'm telling you is true? So I've always taught on, back when I trained for sales, I've always taught on kind of a value scale and an action threshold. And again, I don't want to take credit for, necessarily all of these things. Some of these things I have redeveloped or I've heard over the years of studying. I'm a lifelong learner of marketing, advertising, sales, business. Like I spend my time trying to be better at what we do so that way I can relay that information and relay that knowledge and make it profitable for our clients. So, but I've always taught on the value scale and an action threshold. So essentially you picture, and I've talked about this on previous podcasts, but you have a scale that is inside of your prospect's mind. And on one side, they have the cost, the investment, whatever you want to call it. And then on the other side, they have value. And if you have done a fantastic job as a professional salesperson or someone on your staff or inside of your organization, you begin to stack so much value on one side that scale tips, and there's so much value that it outweighs the cost. But if you have not, then you will have the cost is what is lingering. And that is usually one of the largest objections that most people have when it comes to buying or not buying, is they don't see enough value. All they see is the cost. You have not built enough assurance in them or certainty in them that your product does what you say it will do, that it has tipped the scale in your favor. Because if you can tip the scale, if you can have that scale tip completely and dramatically on the side of the value, then you outweigh the cost. And it becomes a no-brainer and they're willing to do business with you. If there are still objections, if they're still saying, I kind of want to think about it, or, I need to really look at the numbers, I need to do this, then like you have not done a good enough job of building that complete certainty that you can solve their problem. There's still questions in their mind. And I heard a guy say one time that, thought is instantaneous. You're thinking right now, you already know in your mind if you want to do this or not. If you want to sign up with us, if you want to join our gym, if you want to hire us as your marketing agency, like you've already decided. And if you've already decided, then let's go ahead and hash it out. Let's go ahead and talk right now. I don't want to waste your time, and I certainly know that you don't want to waste my time. So let's figure out what the answer actually is. When you say you want to think about it, what are you thinking right now? What's lingering in your mind that's preventing you from making a decision right now? Well, just to be honest with you, it really seems expensive. Okay, well, let's walk through that. But again, that's the difference between like an average salesperson and a professional salesman, just to stay in the conversation that long. Because what a lot of them would do is in that situation, they would go, sure, go and think about it and, get back to me and, or I'll follow up with you. And the reality is statistically, most salespeople don't follow up, or they wait way too long to follow up. They reach back out to them 3 months, 6 months later. Hey, just touching base, and they've already made a decision to go with someone else because someone else built enough value. What may surprise a lot of folks out there in the sales is they get the initial objection that something's too expensive or they can't afford it or whatever it may be, but it's usually price related. And then they say, sure, I'll follow up with you or hit me back up, and they don't do their job. Lo and behold, they probably went with someone that was very comparable, if not potentially more expensive, because the next person built so much value with them and they built so much certainty and they had the experience of dealing with you that they were like, man, this is the end of the rainbow type stuff. Like this is the grass is greener on the other side for sure. And I'm going to go with this guy because he knows what he's talking about. And he made me feel good. And he made me feel like what he was offering would absolutely solve our problem, that I want to do business with this guy. So they exchange monetary value and then they continue to go execute on what they promised them that they would deliver. So you have to be able to tip that scale in your favor. And you can only do that if you have actual value. Like you can get good wordsmiths out there and you can get good sleazy con salesmen that will promise the sun, moon, and stars knowing that their product doesn't actually deliver those things. Ultimately, what that's going to lead to is maybe a conversion initially and then a very high churn rate. Is that they're going to bounce, they're going to bail, they're going to go with someone else because you didn't deliver on what you said you could. But if you are so confident that your product does what they need, then you should have so much conviction inside of you that these folks should be my customer. You should have that kind of dedication to it, that I'm going to do what it takes to ensure that they become my client, that they become my customer. I don't want them going with someone else that is either not going to deliver the same value or not provide them the solution. I'm going to be the guy, or I'm going to be the girl. I'm going to be the person that steps up and takes care of them, and I'm going to solve their problem. So I like to use Jordan Belfort's example. Jordan, became popular, he became popular for a lot of wrong reasons, but he became popular. He did the "sell me this pen" thing, and that's what a lot of people know the Wolf on Wall Street movie and things like that. But the "sell me this pen," and people miss, I think, sometimes the extra lesson that is in the "sell me this pen." A lot of people go, well, you don't have a pen, you could have this free check and you could fill it out. It's blank if you only had a pen. So if you bought this pen from me, like they go into like features and benefits and why you need it and all those things, but they sometimes miss an extra lesson that's there. And in the recent training, and usually people answer the question the same way. So I guess I can do it live. I've got a green pen sitting right here, shocking, right? Green. Is that if I held this pen up and I said, hey, the first person to sign their name on this piece of paper, I've got bonus. I got some money for you. I've got a prize. It's free. No tricks, no purchase necessary. You need to use this pen to write your name. Would someone give me $1 for it? Who would give me $1 for it right now? And typically, hands kind of shoot up all over the room and I go, okay, you'll give me $1 for it. Great. And then I ask the room, I say, how much did they tell us this pen was worth? Most of the time, almost all the time, the room will say $1. And I go, no, it's not. Because the person was willing to give me their $1 for this pen. So it meant that this pen to them was more valuable than their $1. They were willing to trade that $1 to get this pen. So what held more value? The pen did. In that scenario, the pen held more value. Ultimately, for them, it was the outcome, right? It was the end result of whatever the prize was, or a $20 bill, or whatever I was going to give out as a prize, a gift card, whatever. That's what they were going to get. That was the end goal. But in that moment, that $1 was less valuable than this pen. So they were willing to trade their $1 for that pen. And that's the lesson that kind of, again, you have to make the value outweigh the cost. And in that scenario, they were hopeful for the outcome of whatever that may be. Now, I may have given them a penny, right? That could have been how it worked out. Could have handed them a penny and go, what did we learn now? Ask more questions. But in that moment, that pen held more value than their $1 bill. So they were willing to trade it. So if you can tip that scale and build so much value on one side that the thing that you are offering is more valuable than the money that it takes to get it, then they're willing to trade that. And you reach that action threshold. But you have to be able to ensure that you checked all the boxes. Did you find out did you answer the questions? If what I'm trying to offer you does solve your problem like I'm saying it will, is it worth this amount of money? And they go, absolutely. Like if you could get us 50 leads a month that, converted at 25% rate, and that means that, our lifetime value multiplied by those 25 conversions is this, and we're only paying you X, then yeah, that would be worth it. Okay, so what do I need to show you to prove that to you? Do I need to show you some case studies? Do I need to show you some reviews? Like what do I need to put in front of you? And then supply it. If you can't supply it, then you can't solve their problem, and you can't prove that you can solve their problem. So you need to have a reasonable amount of, case studies and testimonials and things like that to be able to put back in front of them. But, the last thing that I talked to them about was the follow-up, and I briefly touched on it now, but, there has to be a follow-up system in place. Is that you have to have a way in a system. Ideally, you're not going to close every person on the first phone call or first meeting. I mean, some of you can and some of you will, and some sales folks are really good and they have a really high, like one sit close, and that's awesome. But the reality is not all of them are going to close on the first visit. They may have genuinely want to do a little bit of research. They may genuinely have another call lined up. They want to see what they have to offer, especially if you're higher ticket. They may be talking to, like us, they may be talking to multiple marketing and advertising agencies, and they want a second opinion or want to find out what they can get over there. Now, hopefully I've done a good enough job that I can still earn that business. But if I don't follow up with them, and what I always like to say is I like to have my next meeting scheduled from the first meeting. So if we end our first meeting with hey, let me think about it, or let me talk to my team, or let me talk to my partner. Ideally I would have rather had the partner at the first meeting. And if I'd have asked those questions, then they would have been there, because I want them in the room. I want the decision makers there where they look at each other and go, this sounds good. Let's make this happen. But if they weren't, and I genuinely need to follow up, then I am going to follow back up, but I'm also not going to call and just go, hey man, it's been a couple of days since we met. I just wanted to follow up and I'm going to ask them, hey, just wanted to touch base and I wanted to see what concerns that, you may have. I know that we talked about a whole lot and I gave you a ton of information and there may be some things that I can clarify. I did send that proposal over and I copied your partner on it and I wanted to get their thoughts as well. So when's a good time for us to get back together? Do you have some time today? Do we want to hop on a call? You want to meet for some coffee? But ideally, I would already have that follow-up appointment set or scheduled from the first meeting. Be like, great, hey, I completely get it. Talk to your partner. But is there anything that you feel like I haven't been able to address that is a concern of yours? And they may say immediately, nope, I think you kind of answered everything. Okay, I want to make sure, when questions arise, you guys are going to think about things on the back end when you're walking through this. And I'm the person with those answers. So if there's anything you felt like I left out, whether it's pricing or deliverables or guarantees or, contract or, process, I want to make sure I address those and answers those. That way you have a full picture of how the entire process works. And again, it's just staying in the conversation. It's continuing to ask those questions, even though they may give you a quick no or yes or whatever it may be, but digging a little deeper to make sure that you're on the same page with them and that they have addressed their concerns, because there can be underlying things that become the reason why you didn't get the sale. And the reality is that it was probably a simple answer. It was probably a simple explanation that had been like, if he just would have said that, we would have went with them, but he didn't, or she didn't. So we didn't know. So we wound up going with the guy over here that did answer that or did address that. So staying in the conversations, but your follow-up has to be intentional. Follow-up does have to be intentional. You have to have a schedule for it. You have to know when you're going to follow up. You have to know when the next appointment is. You have to stay on top of it, because otherwise someone else is going to do a better job than you and someone else is going to wind up getting the business. For me, what I like to do and what we've actually built out for not only ourselves but multiple clients is you talk about like a lead flow, like wherever someone comes in. This is just setting them up for the kind of the initial conversation or initial meeting. Is when someone opts in and they go, hey, through my website or through social media or anywhere else, if they opt in and they go, hey, I want to have a conversation with SpeakCloud Group and I want to talk about marketing and advertising, then when they opt in, after they opt in, it's going to send them over to essentially a testimonial page. Ideally, I love having video there, we're big on video, but I like having video there. And it could be not just me, a talking head on there, like, hey, thanks for scheduling your appointment. Now, we do have that. We do have a way to where that pops up and it's like, hey, just wanted to thank you for opting in, kind of here are our next steps. You're going to, get a link sent to you that's going to allow you to schedule. Sometimes we have that set up they already did that when they scheduled the appointment. So we may thank them for scheduling the appointment. We're looking forward to it. Here's a couple of things that you can expect to prepare for that meeting. Here's some things that you may want to have ready. And we may talk to them about, analytics. We may talk to them about have some of this stuff ready so that we can really dive in and walk through it, because our meetings are a little bit of a consultation. Like we want to dive into like, what are you doing? What have you done in the past? What do you want to do? Why are the results you're getting right now not good enough? Why are they not good enough? Like we just want to dive through some of those things in those calls to make sure, again, that I can deliver the result that they're looking for. I want to ask all of that. But on that page, there's going to be tons of testimonials, whether they be video or written or a link back from Google or reviews from Facebook. They're going to be inundated with people talking and saying great things about us and the things that we've been able to accomplish for them. So, and a lot of times we even have on there like a frequently asked questions. So we try to we're essentially pre-selling, which I don't like that expression. As much as I'm a fan of sales and I've taught it for so long, it's we again, I want it to be a solution. I want them to want it. So there's that is a little bit of sales, right? Is like making sure that you've kind of predisposed or pre-sold them on what it is that you do, and you've addressed some of the concerns. And that's what we do, is that we're going to address a lot of those concerns from the very beginning of, we don't have long-term agreements. We have, different options available for different budgets. We do consulting if they're looking to bring it in-house, but they need someone as an expert to come in and tell them how to set it up. Like we answer a lot of those things from the very beginning. So when they hop on the call, they're already like, these folks got it put together. We like what they're offering. We like what they're saying. And they've already addressed a lot of the concerns or issues that we have. And one of those being like, they showed us a bunch of these reviews and these video testimonials from their clients. So it's something that any of you could build out as well. I mean, obviously you could call us, we could help you build it out. but it's something simple enough that all of you could build out, is when they opt in, whether it's through your contact page or through a calendar schedule page, that once they opt in, it then kicks them over there to this kind of like meeting prep page. I've even seen strategy that, well, we don't personally use it, but we have implemented it for some of our clients, to where we implement after they schedule the appointment, they may drop on a certain page, but then leading up to the appointment, they get a certain email sequence like the day of or day before. We've even had text where it texts them a link back to that review page. Make sure that you've reviewed this ahead of our meeting, yada, yada, yada. And you all have probably seen some of this stuff when you've opted in for different, whether it's trainings or anything along those lines. But that's what I wanted to talk about today and get across. And, I knew this wouldn't be, a 45-minute episode, but, I love the psychology behind sales. I love, call it art of persuasion or whatever you want to call it. I'm a student of that. I'm a fan of that. I am definitely on the train of professional selling, not crummy or scummy or scammy or whatever word that you could attach to it. And I don't want to say, used car guys, because that's one of the analogies that people want to throw out there, but I think there are truly some professional, a lot of true sales professionals that are in the auto industry. But then, we all know that there are some of them that, like, Slick Rick, that are not. They're very slimy, very grimy, very pressure based. And I don't want to see salespeople be either side of that. I don't want them to come across as like a Slick Rick. I also don't want to see them come across as like an order taker, where the only way they're going to get a sale is if someone comes in and goes, "Hey, I want to buy this car. Here's my money. Give me the keys." Like, that's not a salesperson. That's like an order taker. They're going off of whatever the client, customer, prospect tells them or gives them. And if they don't just lay down and pay, then they're never going to close that deal. I want to see people that have a passion for sales, people that have a passion for people. I want to see them become, true professionals at what they do. And I think a level of professionalism in sales is really asking those questions, but believing those answers and knowing that your product backs up what you're saying. If it doesn't, it's going to be very difficult for you to sell that product. If you do not believe that the product can deliver the solution they're looking for, if you don't believe the product can deliver at all, I don't believe that you can be a true sales professional. I think that you could be kind of grimy, and you can say, "Look, I got to make this sale because I got to make this sale." It's not going to solve their problem. It's not going to do what I say it does. But if I make the sale, I make $1,000, I'm going to sell it. That's the difference is I want to see true sales professionals that believe in their product, that believe in their solution, believe in their company, that they know they can back up what they're saying, that they have so much conviction in that solution that they're passionate about it. That's what I ideally want to see, is that, it's great to, go after money. It's great to be, you can call it money hungry, which is probably a bad way to put it. But you can be money motivated. But you have to transition to that like professional side, in my opinion. Some people may argue with me on that. That's fine. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But I believe that to be the best salesperson, you need to have a product that you believe in. You need to have a product that that product has your back. The company behind the product has your back, and that it will deliver. Because if I walk in and I know that what they're wanting, I can't deliver, but then it's still my job to try to sell them, I lack conviction. And if you still have conviction, like, something's wrong with you. You need a shrink or something. Because if you know it can't deliver but you're telling them it can, or you're trying to sell them anyways, then that's a problem. And I truly hope, and I hope that the markets get tough. I hope they continue to be tough. I hope that people do their research. I hope that people dive into who companies are and what the reviews are and can they deliver. But I truly hope that there are, from some of these videos that we try to do on marketing and advertising and sales, that there are some people that, are lifted up and go, "You know what? I don't believe in the product that I'm selling right now, and that's maybe why I'm struggling." It may not be that you're a bad salesperson. It may be that you don't believe in the product that you're selling. You may need to find something else to sell. You may be a phenomenal salesperson, but you need to find something that you truly believe in. So you guys, I hope that this was helpful. If you're watching over on YouTube, we'd love to have you subscribe, like the video, comment, let us know what you think. If you're listening on any of the audio platforms, leave us a review or a rating. That'd be fantastic. If you're watching a short of this on, TikTok or Instagram or anywhere else, we'd love to have you follow us or go watch the full episode. And let us know what you thought. But just want to say I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all the love we've gotten since starting starting to do this. We do this solely. It is for us. It is edifying for me to sit down and talk to other business owners and entrepreneurs. And it's edifying for me to be able to sit down and talk about some knowledge that I have that I'd love to relay to you. I enjoy these moments. So I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for watching. If you are a business out there that you're looking for marketing, advertising, anything digital in that area, automations, reach out to our company, kind of parent company here, Speak Loud Group, and we'd love to have a conversation with you and chat and see if we have something that works for you. But again, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for the subscribers and all the views and comments, things like that on all the different platforms, and we will see you guys next time.